Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things.
Caitlin Clark's rise in the WNBA has sparked mixed reactions, but one voice has stood out in unwavering support: Satou Sabally. While some veterans have hesitated to embrace Clark's meteoric rise, Sabally has praised her talent and character openly. This vocal admiration has intrigued fans and raised questions about what Sabally sees in Clark and how it might shape her own career.
What I hope for her is that she still knows that there's a community of women around her that want her to succeed. Not everyone wants someone to fail, because if you want someone to fail, like, you're jealous, you're not great if you want someone else to fail, because you can't prove your own greatness, in my opinion. I just hope she knows.
Sabally's praise goes beyond mere compliments. She has called out those who criticize Clark out of jealousy, emphasizing the importance of celebrating talent and greatness. In a league where competition often overshadows camaraderie, her public support is refreshing. Sabally's social media activity, including liking posts about Clark's Rookie of the Year win, has added fuel to speculation about a deeper connection, potentially hinting at a desire to join Clark on the Indiana Fever.
One of the most versatile players in the league. She has such soft touch on her jump shot.
At 26, Sabally has established herself as one of the WNBA's most versatile players. A former Most Improved Player award, she combines scoring, rebounding, and playmaking with leadership on and off the court. Known for her advocacy and support for teammates, Sabally's character adds weight to her endorsement of Clark. Her comments reflect empathy for the pressures Clark faces as a young star in the spotlight, with Sabally encouraging her to block out negativity and continue excelling.
I almost said she just feels good, physically, mentally, spiritually.
Satou Sabally has been a big reason for their increased level of play, averaging career highs in points, rebounds, and assists.
Fans have speculated whether Sabally's support for Clark could translate into a move to the Fever. As a free agent, Sabally would be a valuable addition to a team already stacked with young stars like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Her skill set would complement Clark's dynamic playmaking, making the Fever a championship contender. Defensively, Sabally's versatility could strengthen the team's lineup, while her leadership would enhance team chemistry.
Because there were way too many Caitlin fans, and I heard but, it just kudos, because it's amazing to see so many people in women's basketball jerseys. It's amazing to see the excitement and the joy that comes out of that.
If Sabally joins the Fever, it would signal Indiana's intent to build a legacy and could attract other top-tier players to the franchise. Whether she makes this move or not, her actions highlight a cultural shift in the WNBA, one that emphasizes unity and mutual respect among players. Sabally's advocacy for Clark goes beyond basketball, showing the importance of empowering others in a highly competitive environment. As the WNBA offseason unfolds, fans eagerly await Sabally's decision. Her next move could redefine team dynamics and further her legacy as a player who not only excels on the court, but uplifts others along the way. Whether Sabally and Clark join forces or not, their connection reflects the league's growing emphasis on collaboration.
Caitlin Clark's golf debut just made me so upset with the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season.
Caitlin Clark made waves in the world of women's sports, but this time, it wasn't on the basketball court. Her impressive debut at an LPGA Pro-Am event created quite a buzz, leaving both fans and critics amazed.
Now, from this event, I have only seen and heard of positive things. I didn't hear one thing about how her fans are toxic. I didn't hear one thing about there being too much spotlight on Caitlin Clark and it should have maybe been on the professional golfers that are there. We didn't hear any of that.
While the LPGA rolled out the red carpet for her, the WNBA's lack of response was impossible to ignore. What's really happening behind the scenes?
I honestly just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything.
Caitlin Clark is now a household name, not only for her WNBA success, but also for her unexpected performance in golf. Her appearance at the LPGA Pro-Am wasn't just a typical celebrity cameo, it turned into a nationally spotlighted event. Fans showed up in droves, pushing for the tournament to be broadcast. And when it finally aired, the LPGA struck gold. They didn't just include Caitlin, they made her the star of the entire event.
How this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television.
Let's break it down. The LPGA didn't just get lucky with this opportunity, they planned it with precision. They paired Caitlin with Nelly Korda, the top-ranked golfer in the world. Think about it, one of the biggest stars in women's basketball teaming up with the best golfer around. That's not a coincidence. That's smart marketing. Photos of Caitlin and Nelly were all over social media, generating a buzz that reached well beyond golf fans. Basketball lovers, golf enthusiasts, and more were instantly hooked.
Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world.
Meanwhile, the WNBA, the league that shot Caitlin to stardom, remained completely silent. They didn't tweet, post, or make any mention of her golf success. Fans definitely noticed, and it raised a lot of questions. Why wasn't her own league celebrating such a huge moment? It felt like a major missed opportunity, especially after the LPGA showed just how much star power Caitlin could bring to another sport.
There are photos of Caitlin and Nelly literally everywhere, and the LPGA was so smart in doing this because they knew that there would be so many eyeballs on Caitlin. So if they put their #1 golfer, who is currently leading the sport and pushing the sport ahead, if they put her next to Caitlin for the entire event, that's just great. It's great for Nelly and it's great for everyone else.
It wasn't just the LPGA that jumped on Caitlin's star power. Media outlets were all over the story too. From SportsCenter to Bleacher Report, everyone covered her every move at the event, from her swings to her interactions with fans. Everything Caitlin did became headline news. The LPGA took full advantage of the spotlight, promoting not only Caitlin, but also showcasing their top golfers. It was a win-win situation. In contrast, the WNBA took a different approach. Throughout Caitlin's rookie season, many fans felt the league wasn't doing enough to promote her, despite her standout performances and the clear Caitlin Clark effect on viewership numbers. The league seemed hesitant to fully embrace her rising fame. Critics argued that the WNBA was trying too hard to evenly distribute attention, even when it was obvious Caitlin was the main draw. This reluctance was even more noticeable during the LPGA Pro-Am. While the LPGA leaned into Caitlin's popularity, the WNBA's silence was glaring. Fans didn't hold back, taking to social media to share their frustrations. Many pointed out that this was exactly what they'd been saying all season. The WNBA wasn't doing enough to leverage Caitlin's popularity, so why would the WNBA hold back? Some say the league is cautious about focusing too much on one player, fearing it might overshadow others or stir up tension within the league. Others think it's a missed opportunity tied to outdated marketing tactics. Whatever the reason, the difference between the LPGA's strategy and the WNBA...
I just hope y'all know, the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills.
So I don't know if she's complaining or just stating.
Angel Reese faced heavy criticism from experts after her recent complaints about her WNBA salary not being enough to cover her rent. Apparently, she's struggling on her $73,000 salary, claiming it doesn't stretch far enough to pay for her extravagant $8,000 monthly rent. as if she's living paycheck to paycheck.
I am sympathetic to that, but yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
Reese, regarded as the league's most pampered player, appears to believe she deserves a salary increase, especially since it's been a while since she found herself in another scandal. And now, it looks like we're back to the same situation again.
Number one complaint this offseason in the WNBA would be the incessant whining about their minimum wage salaries. I mean, who could have possibly...
What exactly are you asking for more money for, Angel? You played less than 10 games this season, while Caitlin Clark put in the effort through 38. You're attracting a crowd of 7,000 fans per game.
I am sympathetic to that, but yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
And somehow, you expect to earn paychecks on the level of LeBron James? Let's be honest, it seems like you're more focused on your image than the game itself. Angel Reese, who calls herself the face of the WNBA, is acting as if life is incredibly unfair to her. She's making a WNBA salary of $73,439, but still has the audacity to complain that it doesn't cover her $8,000 monthly rent.
Now these complaints are coming from the star.
That's right. She's living in a place that costs $96,000 a year, and then wonders why her finances don't make sense. I mean, how out of touch can you be? It's almost like she's forgotten basic math. Spending $8,000 a month isn't just rent, it's a lifestyle choice. The average person in Chicago, where rent is around $2,000, would be laughing in disbelief at these complaints. Most people can't afford to spend their entire paycheck on a luxury apartment and then complain about it. Yet here, we have Angel Reese playing the victim while the rest of the WNBA is out there hustling just to get by. The audacity is off the charts.
He pays them bills, baby. I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Literally. I'm trying to think of like my rent for where I stay at.
Let's not even dive into her financial choices. With all the money she's making from endorsements, sponsorships, and her podcast, you'd think she would realize that renting an overpriced place isn't the smartest decision. But instead of making wise financial moves, like buying a house or investing, she seems to be spending money faster than most people can earn it. What's her plan exactly? Is she just waiting for a magic fairy to come and solve her problems?
I don't even know what salary does it. Really? You don't even. Yo, I'm living beyond my means. It's like
it's both hilarious and sad at the same time. She's in a position to be a real role model for her fellow WNBA players, many of whom are genuinely struggling to make a decent living. They don't have million-dollar endorsement deals rolling in. They rely on their league salaries and are barely scraping by. Yet here's Reese complaining about rent as if she isn't surrounded by cash from every angle. It's insulting to everyone in the league who is truly fighting to stay afloat.
Playing this offseason in the WNBA would be the incessant whining about
Caitlin Clark recently shared some footage of her training in Europe, and it's everything we've been looking for. This serves as the ultimate evidence of how a truly respectable league treats its star players.
No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up. You messed it up.
You can truly see the joy on Clark's face. She looks free, incredibly happy, and completely unbothered. Those days of putting up with cheap shots, dirty hits, and all that nonsense are behind her. There's no one poking her in the eye or hip-checking her into the stands.
So now give me the reasons why. She's gone.
And here's the best part. There's no racial tension or scheming against the league's top talent in Europe. The players focus on their game, and Clark can finally concentrate on what she does best, dominating on the court. The contrast is clear, And it's no surprise she's thriving in a league that truly knows how to honor greatness.
I have honestly never seen a company fumble the bag so hard like the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark.
She's playing as if she's finally free from all the nonsense, free from cheap shots, and definitely free from the relentless negativity she faced in the WNBA. It feels like a completely new Caitlin Clark, and she's clearly enjoying every moment. She's smiling, sinking threes like they're layups, and making no-look passes as if it's just another day in the park.
I think it's a good number. Threes were a little bit, I wouldn't say lower. I'll still take 63, but I want to be more so around 70 if I can. 81 mid-range is really, really good.
There's no fear, no hesitation, and no worrying about getting smacked in the face or having someone try to take her out. In Europe, they truly appreciate talent. They love and celebrate her. She's not dodging elbows or dealing with dirty looks anymore. Finally, she's being treated like the superstar she is. It's as if she's escaped a nightmare and landed in a place where basketball is celebrated.
And it sucks that so much of it was riddled with so much drama and so much negativity and so many mishaps.
You know who's really losing it? The WNBA. That's right. The league that thought they could just sit back and let Caitlin Clark get poked in the eye, body checked and disrespected day after day. Now they're complaining about losing their star, but let's be honest, it's their own fault. They made it unbearable for her. How many times did we watch Clark take a cheap shot while the referees stood by without taking action? And what did the WNBA do about it? Nothing. They allowed it to happen repeatedly.
Like we talked about in our locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome.
Here's the thing. In Europe, they don't have that kind of drama. No Chennedy Carter blindsiding her, no Dejonai Carrington going for her eye. No one is trying to take her down just because she's different. She's not facing players who resent her simply because she's a straight white girl excelling in their league. Over there, it's all about basketball. It's pure, it's clean, and it's a genuine league that respects the game, honors talent, and of course, treats Clark.
And Iowa has Caitlin Clark, who's become this huge star. She's amazing, and she's getting all this attention, and some nasty press reporters are upset about it.
Did you catch what just happened? Megyn Kelly, yes, that Megyn Kelly, just made some explosive comments about the WNBA, and she's not holding back. She's calling out the league for treating Caitlin Clark like she's the enemy. Hard to believe, right? So, what exactly did Kelly say that's got the WNBA so stirred up? Her blunt remarks about Caitlin Clark have lit up the basketball world, sparking a huge reaction across the league. Kelly didn't mince words, and now her comments have everyone on edge. Let's dive into the details everyone's buzzing about.
But she came out to say her own scoring record stands despite Caitlin Clark beating it, because I guess they didn't have three-pointers when she was playing, which is just ridiculous.
Kelly didn't hold back when she criticized the WNBA for its treatment of Clark. She bluntly stated that what's happening to Clark is really that serious. Can you believe it? This isn't just some offhand comment. Kelly's words carry significant weight.
So she's getting a lot of hate from people like that. Of course, Jamel Hill has weighed in, like a lot of people taking shots at her.
You might be wondering, since when does Megyn Kelly care about basketball? And that's a fair question. She typically doesn't involve herself in sports drama. So why is she speaking out now? The reason is that what's happening to Clark is so outrageous that even Kelly felt compelled to voice her opinion.
She's been in the WNBA for 2 minutes. There's no reason to hate her other than the amount of attention she's getting and her skin color. I mean, would this be happening to a black Caitlin Clark?
No.
Getting the same amount of attention.
This is where things really heat up. Kelly revealed that some players are actively targeting Clark on the court. She's not referring to just tough defense or regular competition. She's saying that Clark is experiencing outright abuse. And get this, she claims the league is allowing it to happen. How wild is that?
And it's resulted in physical alterations on the court that don't get called as fouls, that the girls then deny were intentional. And Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never points the finger, but it happened again.
But Kelly didn't stop there. She linked Clark's treatment to larger issues in women's sports. You know how Clark has been in the spotlight a lot recently? Well, Kelly made a shocking statement saying that.
Many black women inside the WNBA are resentful that this white woman came in and is getting all this attention.
That's a serious accusation, and it stirred up strong reactions on all sides. Kelly isn't just referring to fouls and rough play. She's claiming there's a significant amount of racial tension simmering beneath the surface of the WNBA. She believes Clark is right in the thick of it all.
The people weren't going, Jake, because they were homophobic, racists. That's why the other girls resent Caitlyn getting attention, because she's not black.
You might be asking yourself if Kelly is correct about all this. That's the million-dollar question. One thing is certain, though. Her comments are prompting everyone to seriously examine what's really happening in the league. Kelly believes that Clark is turning the sport into something mainstream. And if that's the case, it seems not everyone is pleased about it.
These are the highest ratings in more than 10 years. And it is 100% because of Caitlyn Clark.
Those are regular NBA ratings. Like if you get a couple million people watching an NBA game, you're pretty happy as a network guy. She is the Michael Jordan. Like I know you're not a major basketball
person.
I know. But she is the Michael Jordan of female basketball. Every single player in that league, every single coach, manager, janitor, anyone who has anything to do with that league should be bowing at the altar of this woman. She is transforming the sport into something mainstream, which is what the WNBA was set out to do. And I think it started in 1994 or 1995.
This isn't just some drama. It's a major earthquake rocking the WNBA. And believe me, we're only witnessing the initial tremors. The aftershocks from Kelly's bombshell are going to be felt for a long time.
Wow. People are done with NaLyssa Smith. Traitor. Get her off the team. Adios amigos, as that guy said.
NaLyssa Smith, the star of the Indiana Fever, might actually be at the heart of the team's struggles. Hard to believe, right? You're probably thinking, wait, isn't she one of their top players? Well, get ready because we're about to dig into what's really happening with the Fever. So, what's going on with NaLyssa Smith? And why is her future with the team suddenly uncertain? We're about to dive into all the details causing a stir in the Fever's locker room. But here's the twist. It's not what you'd expect. The reasons behind this surprising situation are going to catch you off guard.
I believe truly in my heart that connected teams are winning teams. And so people who fit, players who fit the culture of the Indiana Fever and where we are and where we're moving towards.
You know something's up when a new coach starts emphasizing culture and everyone embracing their roles, right? Well, that's exactly what happened when Stephanie White took over at the Indiana Fever. Let's go back to her first press conference. It was all smiles and big ambitions, but something didn't quite add up. White kept going on about building around a core group of 3, and it felt a bit off.
Caitlyn Clark, a generational player, and Aaliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities in the game of basketball, for the women's basketball culture and community, it's unprecedented. And to be able to work with those guys and Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core 3, right? You think about a big 3, and to be able to work with that big 3.
But wait a minute. Where does NaLyssa Smith fit into all of this? You'd expect a former number 2 overall pick to be front and center, right? But no, Smith's name didn't even come up. You might be thinking, maybe she just forgot to mention Smith. But let's be real, this is a player who was supposed to be the future of the franchise.
We want players that will fit in seamlessly with our core 3, which includes Kelsey Mitchell. We want players to fit in seamlessly with the core 3. We want players that will play a role and will embrace their role. And we want players that will fit in with the culture and the team.
The new coach kept emphasizing words like unity and commitment. Pretty subtle, right? It felt like she was sending a message without saying it outright. But White didn't stop there. she kept talking about what she wants in a player. She made a point of saying that success isn't just about individual talent, it's about a team's willingness to go to battle together every single day. Is it just me? Or does that sound like she's taking a direct shot at someone?
Because every single thing that she described wanting to build around Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston is the opposite of what NaLyssa Smith is.
It gets even more interesting. White started outlining what she wants in her ideal player, and it was almost as if she was reading off an anti-NaLyssa checklist. She mentioned wanting players who can embrace their roles and fit in seamlessly with the core three. Ouch, that's got to sting if you're Smith, right? Well, it's becoming pretty clear that White's vision for the Fever's future doesn't seem to include Smith. She's focused on building a team of players who are fully committed to each other and the franchise's long-term goals. And let's be honest, with all the drama surrounding Smith lately, it's tough to see how she fits into that picture.
To another level. You know, you've got incredibly talented players right here in Caitlin and Aaliyah and Lexi, a team that was incredibly fun to watch, very tough to game plan against. So I'm glad I'm going to get to work with you guys, work with you ladies, instead of having
global platform now that Caitlin will have coming into the professional ranks. So it's really a great time to be in basketball.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
Build, you have to scale, and ultimately expansion had always been on my list. But we didn't want to rush into it because we wanted new owners, like new ownership groups. Anyone who knows sports here knows like it's a slog to be a sports owner.
What would you do to stop your most valuable asset from jumping ship to a competitor? Well, the WNBA just showed the world its answer to that question. Just hours ago, Caitlin Clark, a name now synonymous with basketball excellence, made waves around the globe.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hey, what's up, Caitlin?
Yo, what's up, Caitlin?
Hey, Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin.
Famous for her incredible shooting range and intense competitiveness, Clark was anticipated to take the WNBA to new levels after being drafted by the Indiana Fever.
The Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
However, recent rumors indicate that Clark may choose to skip the WNBA and head to Europe for the attractive contracts available there. In response, the WNBA is ready to make an unprecedented offer, an ownership stake in the Indiana Fever to ensure Caitlin Clark stays in the US. Her arrival in the WNBA was poised to be a game changer.
Looked up how much the tickets are going for. I kind of cut that price in half.
Sites like SeatGeek are charging hundreds and thousands for a seat at Barber Hawkeye. She says the attention for the sport has grown a lot in the 15 years she's been a super fan.
After an outstanding college career in which she broke records and attracted millions of viewers, the WNBA viewed Clark as their golden ticket. Her talent for drawing crowds, boosting TV ratings, and increasing attendance to unprecedented levels made her the most anticipated rookie in recent WNBA history. The Indiana Fever, who had struggled with both attendance and performance, saw a significant rise in their numbers after drafting Clark.
And the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history.
Many believe she has the potential to transform the franchise single-handedly. Her knack for attracting fans wasn't just a guess. During her college years, Clark's games ranked among the most viewed in women's basketball history. In her rookie season, attendance for the Indiana Fever nearly quadrupled. Her games turned into must-watch events, contributing to one of the WNBA's best seasons ever in terms of TV ratings. For the WNBA, Caitlin Clark wasn't merely a player, she represented a bright future for the league.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
While her WNBA debut was thrilling, Caitlin Clark was also being pursued by European teams with enticing offers. Europe, known for drawing top WNBA talent with its higher salaries and competitive environment, presented a significant temptation. Players like Breanna Stewart and Diana Taurasi have openly talked about how playing in Europe offered them financial stability.
Like there's that 4-year period where you need to grow as a person, but then the NIL comes into play.
Angel Reese reveals the real reason behind Caitlin Clark's move to Europe. Angel Reese shuts down rumors, says Caitlin Clark's exit is a financial move. Angel Reese couldn't resist weighing in on Caitlin Clark's new European contract. Instead of letting it slide, she stepped in to set the record straight.
What the is that headline all about?
Yeah.
She is the worst basketball player.
In the WNBA, this is pretty unprecedented. Someone so set on stirring the pot. Reese, still tangled up in her own steroid controversy, took a jab at Clark, suggesting players are just in it for the money and using racial issues to gain sympathy.
People talk about Caitlin getting hate, but someone sat down and spent hours putting together an 8-minute video with interlude clips all to trash Angel. Why?
It's obvious Reese is targeting Clark here. The surprising part is that Caitlin has never said anything negative about Reese or any other black player. But today, I can't help but feel that some people don't really deserve the silent treatment.
Blah, blah, blah. From Angel Reese.
It's pretty clear that Caitlin Clark heading to Europe isn't just about exploring a new scene or picking up a different paycheck. It's more about escaping the toxic circus the WNBA has turned into. On the surface, the WNBA might seem like the perfect fit for a player like her, someone born to dominate, but in reality, it was becoming anything but ideal. Instead of just focusing on her game, she was constantly dodging scandals and skeptical looks like it was all part of the game plan.
Entitled players in the WNBA just can't seem to understand is, you get what you put in, and right now, you are getting exactly what you deserve.
And why? Because she chose to stay quiet while others tried to paint her as some kind of villain. Some of her own fellow athletes, along with a few media voices, went as far as to label her a racist. Honestly, where do they come up with this stuff? But Clark, always level-headed, didn't take the bait. She didn't waste her time responding to these absurd accusations. She just stayed focused on what really matters, basketball. Yet the drama surrounding her only kept growing, like a bad reality show storyline.
So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans.
Then Alyssa Thomas, clearly not interested in keeping the peace, decided to stir things up even more. She publicly blamed Clark for racist comments made by her fans. Yes, you read that correctly. Thomas somehow figured that Clark should be responsible for the words of random people in the stands.
I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base.
Ridiculous, right? This wasn't even about anything Clark did or said. Nope, Thomas seemed more interested in redirecting attention away from her own struggles. She bundled up her frustrations, jealousy, and whatever else was going on inside, wrapped it in an accusation, and tossed it right at Clark.
And then she had a press conference where she cried and everybody's so mean to me. Well, she's continued the stupidity. I mean, she cheered on her teammate as she shoved Caitlin Clark, knocked Caitlin Clark in the head, and a bunch of other stupid stuff.
The thing is, Caitlin didn't have to do anything wrong to end up as a target. The love she was getting from fans, her name popping up in every highlight reel and headline, that alone was enough to spark jealousy in the WNBA. And it wasn't just random trolls online, it was some of the very players she shared the court with. Instead of celebrating her success,
Finally, before we get to your questions, we have some news to announce.
Commissioner Kathy Engelberg, Commissioner of the WNBA, just announced that starting in 2025, the WNBA Finals format will change.
the WNBA just dropped a major surprise during the playoffs, and it's all about the Caitlin Clark effect. They're making some huge rule changes for 2025, but here's the big question. Is this too little, too late? Will these changes really make a difference? Clark's early exit from the playoffs left arenas half empty and tanked TV ratings. Now, the league's scrambling to patch things up, but will these new rules actually fix what's broken? Let's talk about Clark's impact. She didn't just play the game, she redefined it. With 62 records broken, packed arenas, and TV ratings hitting new highs, Clark and the Fever turned every game into a must-watch. Fans couldn't get enough.
Well, I knew the atmosphere was going to be electric when they announced Caitlyn's name in the dark and the fans went crazy.
Here's the reality. The second Clark was out, everything started to fall apart. Ratings plummeted by 80%, and some games started looking like ghost towns, with empty sections covered up to avoid the bad look on live TV. Let's be real. Are you even shocked? Clark was practically carrying the league, and now she's off the court and on the golf course. Can the WNBA make it without its star player? These new rule changes better deliver? Because right now, things aren't looking great.
Staying with the WNBA, playoffs, let's stay here. Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as well.
The WNBA is definitely in panic mode, ready to do whatever it takes to turn things around. But here's the surprising part. These new rules aren't just minor adjustments, they represent a complete overhaul that could either save or sink the league. The big question is, will these changes be enough to fill the gap left by Caitlin Clark and boost their ratings? Or will the league keep slipping into irrelevance? Let's dive into these drastic measures. First off, they're extending the regular season from 40 to 44 games, with the introduction of a new team in 2025, the Golden State Valkyries. That means 4 more opportunities to catch your favorite team in action.
Getting to go to multiple arenas so that people that are watching at home can see this environment in a multitude of cities. It's amazing. I love it. The growth continues.
But that's not all. The finals are getting a makeover too. Starting in 2025, the WNBA finals will shift from a best-of-5 format to a best-of-7 series. This change aims to create a more intense and exciting championship showdown.
Starting in 2025, the WNBA Finals format will change to a best-of-7 series.
Yes.
And the format will be 2-2-1-1-1.
It's clear that the league believes more games will lead to more fans and increased revenue. Plus, they're making changes to the first round of the playoffs as well. The format is shifting to a 1-1-1 setup, which guarantees the lower-seeded team one home game.
Say for the fans, it's a benefit for your team. Has played well enough to get into the playoffs. So now that your fans will be able to see your team play at home during those playoffs.
Yeah.
Remember the Fever Sun series? The Indiana Fever couldn't return to play in front of their fans at Gainbridge because of all the drama in Games 1 and 2. It seems the league has finally realized that lower-seeded teams need to have the chance to play in front of their home crowd as well. Now, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is trying to pitch these changes as if they're going to save the league, claiming it's all about balancing the schedule. But let's be honest, it feels more like a frantic effort to keep things running without their star player.
With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
Let's be honest for a moment. Are these changes truly tackling what fans care about? Sure, having more games looks good on paper, but what about the issues that really matter, like player safety and fair officiating? Those concerns seem to have been completely overlooked by Engelbert.
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list. Obviously not.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
When your coach doesn't last a full season and your best player is looking for the exit, it's safe to say the Chicago Sky have hit rock bottom. This isn't just a bad basketball story. This is a full-scale implosion. The Sky are mired in chaos, dealing with locker room drama, questionable leadership decisions, and star players openly considering their departure.
Now, Marina Mabrey, she's already flown the coop on this team, and it was quote-unquote because of culture. Well, what happened to the culture? Who torched the culture? Who's selfish on the team that would cause the culture to melt down?
Angel Reese's antics have reportedly left the locker room fractured, with whispers of favoritism and rising tension dividing the players. Kennedy Carter, their top scorer, recently made a social media outburst that only fanned the flames, hinting at a team that has lost its identity. Looming over it all is the aftermath of Teresa Weatherspoon's brief and turbulent tenure as head coach, a tenure that left the Sky in shambles both on and off the court. How did things get so bad? What caused the collapse of a team that once seemed so promising? And more importantly, can new head coach Tyler Marsh piece it all back together? This is a story of broken leadership, strained relationships, and a culture that has spiraled completely out of control.
A Chicago Sky franchise that's been an absolute dumpster fire since winning the WNBA championship in 2021. Let's go through some of the names that have left. James Wade, who was the coach and GM, left in the middle of the season last year to go to the NBA. Candace Parker, Emma Messman, Courtney Vandersloot, Allie Quigley, Kalia Copper was traded, Azura Stevens. And then this year, after drafting Cardozo and Reese, they were competing for a playoff spot and traded Marina Mabrey, their veteran, before the Olympic break.
Kennedy Carter's recent Threads post was another clear signal of discontent. In her exact words, "Let's chat. Drop the WNBA teams you would like to see me sign with next year. Y'all be coaches and GMs anyway. Let's see what you think." For a player still under contract as a restricted free agent in January, this public plea speaks volumes. Carter, who averaged 17.5 points per game last season, has always been a polarizing figure, known for her scoring ability and fiery personality, but also for her controversies. Her time in Chicago has been no different, sparking as much debate for her off-court behavior as for her on-court contributions. This latest outburst doesn't just highlight Carter's dramatic tendencies, it underscores a larger issue within the organization.
When Tyler Marsh did the press conference, he talked about Angel Reese, he talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA, but he did not really mention Kennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of eyebrows.
When your leading scorer is questioning her future publicly, it's not just a reflection on her, it's a damning statement about the team's internal state. This same issue reportedly drove Mabrey out mid-season, making it clear that dysfunction isn't isolated. The Sky's response, or lack thereof, has only added to the fire. New head coach Tyler Marsh avoided making any commitments regarding Carter's future.
However, new Sky coach Tyler Marsh was asked about whether he sees Kennedy Carter in the big part of what he's doing in the future during an appearance on the Athletic women's basketball show. Quote, "In regards to Kennedy, she's a great player. She was a huge catalyst to what last year's team was able to do and accomplish. And obviously, she's slated to be a free agent. So once those talks are up, we'll take a look at it." Interesting. But the focus thus far has been on players who we know are under contract this coming year, and that's where the communication has been thus far.
Are they willing to embrace Carter's talent despite her baggage, or are they preparing to move on? Carter's frustrations, however, don't exist in isolation. The Sky have been plagued by rumors of favoritism, poor tactical decisions, and a coaching environment that left many players feeling unsupported. Teresa Weatherspoon's tenure as head coach was marked by mismanagement and whispers of catering to specific players, fueling resentment in the locker room. According to league sources, Weatherspoon lost the locker room by creating a culture that prioritized the needs of a few over the team.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
The backlash from Carter's Threads post has been loud and divided. Critics labeled her public complaints unprofessional and immature, while supporters pointed to the Sky's leadership as the real issue. One fan summed it up: "If even Carter wants out, you know something seriously wrong in Chicago. Let's be fair, Carter has a history of being a polarizing figure, bouncing around the league and clashing with teams. Could she be part of the problem? Absolutely. But the Sky's broader issues go deeper than one player. The real question is whether Marsh's leadership will be enough to fix this fractured culture. Can they rebuild while keeping their best talent? Or is this...
Shaq went on Angel Reese's podcast this week and shared his billion-dollar idea for the WNBA.
In the next few minutes, you'll witness the moment that rattled women's basketball to its foundation. We have Shaq, Angel Reese, and a whole lot of uncomfortable truths to unpack.
Bro, a pretty girl dunking on the rim, I'm watching that all the time. You laughing.
My man is not turned on by no woman that's dunking.
It ain't about being turned on. It's about seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see.
Here's what's ahead. We'll reveal the exact words from Shaq that made Angel uncomfortable, showcase the statistics that support his claims, and explain why this one conversation could potentially alter the future of the WNBA. Stay tuned, because this is going to be intriguing. Shaq just dropped a truth bomb that has the entire basketball world buzzing. We're talking about a 4-time NBA champion, a Hall of Famer, and a business mogul worth over $400 million. When Shaq talks, people pay attention, and he certainly had a lot to say about the WNBA. Picture this: Shaq sitting there, calm and collected, as he discusses ways to make the WNBA more exciting. His suggestion? Lower the rims. Let's roll the first clip.
And women's beach volleyball, let's just say the net is 10, but women is lower just a little bit. I'm not saying lower it to 9.5, but just 9.9.
Just so we can dunk?
Yes. No, see? And
I hate when men say that.
But listen, that's the only difference.
People always disrespect women regardless. They're always going to not give us the same value as a man. So I just don't even think that.
And that's why you got to do what you've been doing. Go take the
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, if you lower that thing to 9.999.
And what's going to happen? All right, tell me, the money going to go through the roof?
Yeah.
Not all the way down to the ground, of course, but just enough to change the game. He's suggesting lowering the rim to about 8 to 10 feet below the standard height. Why? So we can see some dunks naturally. You might think that doesn't sound too bad, but here's where it gets interesting. Sitting right across from Shaq, Angel Reese isn't on board with that idea. She fires back, making some compelling points about respecting women's basketball.
I feel like it still wouldn't be good enough. It's never good enough for a man. People always disrespect women regardless. They're always going to not give us the same value as a man. So I just don't even think that.
She then addressed the issue of people not tuning in to watch the game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, if you lower that thing to 9.999.
And what's going to happen? All right, tell me, the money going to go through the roof?
Yeah.
We don't even have the people don't even watch the game.
You can feel the tension rising as Angel contends that lowering the rim is outright disrespectful to female players. But Shaq wasn't finished. He delivered a real knockout punch.
We don't even have people don't even watch the game.
Because I don't want to use the B word. Unless it's certain people playing. It's like you're watching like a high school game.
He looked Angel in the eye and compared the WNBA to high school basketball. Yes, you heard that correctly. Shaq stated, and I quote, "It's like you're watching a high school game." Can you imagine the collective gasp from WNBA players everywhere? Let's break this down for a moment. Shaq, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, just suggested that the highest level of women's professional basketball is comparable to high school boys' games. That's not merely a critique. It's a full-blown slam dunk of criticism.
Shaq, he was trying to teach Angel Reese how to make the WNBA more entertaining. You know, so people might actually watch the product. And Shaq is qualified to do so. During his NBA career, the dude was a brilliant marketer. He knew how to be entertaining while also being dominant on the court. There was a reason that every member of the media was waiting by Shaq's locker after games. They knew he would deliver the best sound bites. They knew he would give the most entertaining interview.
You might be curious about how this will unfold. On one side, there are people agreeing with Shaq, believing he's just voicing what many have been thinking. They argue that if the WNBA wants to attract more viewers and generate more excitement, then something needs to change.
Angel Reese, just because a man is criticizing your league, it does not mean he is disrespecting women. This is the entitlement I always talk about. Angel Reese and her colleagues in the WNBA, they have this false sense of entitlement that makes them believe that they are above being criticized. Anytime they are criticized, they want to play the victim. Men don't respect women.
Oh yeah? On the flip side, there's a large group of upset fans and players who believe Shaq's comments are disrespectful and outdated, arguing the rise of Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of extraordinary. From bold predictions to jaw-dropping performances, her journey to the WNBA has been a roller coaster of challenges and triumphs. But what happens when one of her harshest critics, Geno Auriemma, is forced to rethink his words? Stick around, because this story is just getting started. It all started with controversy. On a popular sports show, legendary coach Geno Auriemma didn't hold back his thoughts about Caitlin Clark and her fans. He questioned their grasp on reality, calling them delusional for thinking she could dominate the WNBA.
The delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players.
According to Geno, Clark wasn't prepared for the physical intensity of the league or the seasoned defenders she'd face. Her outspoken personality, he suggested, might even work against her. Criticism wasn't new for Caitlin. She had been under the microscope since her college days at Iowa, where she dazzled with incredible scoring, unmatched shooting range, and a leadership style that turned heads. By the time she entered the 2024 WNBA draft as the #1 pick, she had already become a household name. But for skeptics like Auriemma, her college success didn't guarantee she would thrive in the pros. Even Diana Taurasi, another basketball legend, echoed the doubts, saying Clark might be in for a reality check when facing seasoned players. Fans were divided. Supporters pointed to her relentless drive and basketball IQ, while critics doubted she could handle the transition. Social media buzzed with debates, with many wondering if Clark could prove her doubters wrong. Caitlin wasn't about to let the noise distract her. She approached her rookie season with focus and determination, proving that actions speak louder than words. By the end of the season, she had flipped the script. Her performances were electrifying, leading the Indiana Fever with averages that shattered records: 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and over 5 rebounds per game. Clark's court vision and ability to elevate her team stunned everyone. She not only met expectations, but completely surpassed them. Her season was packed with unforgettable moments, from game-winning shots to triple-doubles that had fans and analysts buzzing. Social media couldn't get enough, and highlight reels of her incredible plays flooded timelines. Even her harshest critics began to take notice. Geno Auriemma, once one of her loudest doubters, found himself reevaluating his stance. Known for his strong opinions, Auriemma surprised everyone when he praised Clark's ability to adapt and thrive in the WNBA. He acknowledged her impact on the league, calling her a phenomenon who had changed the conversation around women's basketball. Clark's return to Iowa for a game between the Hawkeyes and Drake Bulldogs was a testament to her influence. The sold-out crowd celebrated her achievements, with fans and former teammates cheering her on. A tribute video highlighted her journey, featuring heartfelt messages from stars like Paige Buchers and Juju Watkins, as well as her college coaches Lisa Bluter and Jan Jensen. It was a full-circle moment for the young star. But the most surprising part? The way critics like Auriemma shifted their tone. What once seemed like a long shot had become undeniable. Clark's rookie season wasn't just a showcase of her skills. It was a defining moment for women's basketball. It forced even seasoned voices to recognize the arrival of a new era. Caitlin's story is far from over. As she gears up for the next season, the pressure is on to build on her incredible debut. But if her journey so far has taught us anything, It's that she thrives under pressure. Her impact goes beyond statistics, drawing new fans to the game and inspiring the next generation of players. What do you think about Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom? Did Gino Auriemma's change of heart surprise you?